on the border with the United States and Mexico does warrant serious hardcore military. We need 100,000 troops on that border. More people have died on that border in the last 2 years than would die in 2 years in the Vietnam War at its height. 28,000+ and growing. And it's all swept under the rug. But Governor Rick Perry, who's running for president, you can absolutely believe that. When he says he's not running for president, ask him why he's a liar in the next year when he announces with him and little Sarah Palin. I wonder what they're going to be doing in the Lincoln bedroom. I mean, give me a break. Perry says he considers military in Mexico. That's the San Antonio Express News today. He said it on television last night. Governor Rick Perry, who continues to insist he's not interested in the presidency, is nevertheless always ready to tell the federal government how to do its job on such matters as border security, including indicating he and the U.S. should be open to sending military into Mexico to help fight the drug war. And I'm going to go over more of his quotes. In fact, let's pull it up on YouTube, what he actually said, to play that a little bit later. I meant to tell the crew that. Here's the problem. The Mexican military and the Mexican governors and the Mexican Congress, almost to a man, are involved in the narcotics trafficking. You can go to Mexico and watch the military tending and growing and guarding the marijuana. The Mexican military has been caught over and over again shipping cocaine and heroin into the U.S. The people the Mexican military are killing are cartels and cowboys and coyotes who are smuggling it and not paying their cut. They're small-time people. Just like the mafia in New York or Chicago, if you go back 50 years ago, if some small-time group was trying to bring drugs onto the streets, they'd get filled full of holes, or they'd get cement shoes. So I wanted to briefly just break down the facts. And I've had sociologists, anthropologists on, State Department experts. None of this is my opinion. Okay, and I live down here in Texas. I told folks 6, 7 years ago it was a war zone when the media was denying it. We've had car bombs, rocket attacks in Texas, police being killed. It's all swept under the rug, and it's getting worse and worse. Last year, I had a state senator on who admitted on air that martial law has quietly already been declared as of the middle of last year, almost a year and a half ago, on the Texas-Mexico border. The military has pulled back 10 miles off the borders as of 3 months ago from Arizona to Texas. They've ceded 80 miles into Arizona, areas of the state to drug cartels, and the feds have put up signs saying don't go into these areas. Drug cartels in the area. When sheriffs that I've had on this show from Texas have caught truckloads of marijuana and cocaine, in some cases 3 to 6 miles, in both cases, one was 3, one was 6, over the U.S., Mexican troops drive over in armored vehicles and stop our police on highways with machine guns and say, give it back or you're dead, and they escort it back. The federal government knows this. So when even the liberals get giddy about the idea of a war and say, let's go help the Mexican military stop the drug cartels, do you understand that there's already billions and billions a year in U.S. government funds to Mexico and to Calderon to launch this attack against the other cartels that's caused this war to explode? So this will be adding gasoline to it. Now, if you want to put the military on the border, and next time Mexican troops shoot at ranchers or our police or our military, and you want to have warthogs, A-10s, fly up and down, destroying all their vehicles, I'm all for that. When Mexico commits an act of war next time, I say have Abrams tanks lined up. I say have A-10 warthogs, just 10 or so every state on the border, and in 10 minutes, they can have crews ready and launch those and fly up, and any Mexican columns of trucks or personnel, kill them all. How's that sound? You want a war that's righteous and good? Mexico's running all over this country. That's what armies are for, is to defend your border. Instead of having A-10s flying around killing innocent Iraqis and Afghans and people, let's talk about the real threat. The Mexican government is a narco-terrorist criminal state that abuses and dominates its own people. And the criminal banks that run this country are using the criminal families in Mexico to rule and to squeeze the good, hardworking people in Mexico. And they're sick of it. And this war down there is more about a rebellion than a, quote, drug war. That's only the surface. So I stand with the Mexican people who don't hate the United States and understand that criminal interests run the U.S. just like their country. And I stand for Mexico to have liberty. I'd love Mexico to get a Bill of Rights and Constitution, root out corruption. It'd be a wonderful place to live. It's beautiful. It's wealthy when it comes to natural resources. But Mexico isn't going to get fixed, and the U.S. is going to collapse right along with it if we allow them to send the military down into Mexico. That's our military being sent to back up the main drug cartel, the Mexican government, to secure their monopoly of the $500 billion in heroin and cocaine and marijuana coming in every year. Now, what's the real solution staring everyone in the face that would end almost all of this crime overnight? So many criminal enterprises have been grown through this and have been funded. They're going to find new things to do, but it won't be half as bad. What do? Do you send the military down to fight a bunch of people that are in plain clothes in a guerrilla war? And when the smaller cartels have bought off most of the police and the military, because the military brass and the governors, they're cheap. They don't pay off their troops to not be involved in drugs because they want all the money for themselves. They don't share it. They're not smart in their corruption. The lower level cartels will pay off the police and military. That's why they can't be beaten. This is a nightmare quagmire. Not one of our troops should be sent over that border unless it's in an A-10 Warthog to open up on those armored columns. And by the way, you don't need to shoot a DU round to go through their armor. They've got non-DU rounds. They can use exploding rounds fired out of that Vulcan cannon. Do not fire DU down there. You do not need DU. You're not fighting T-72 Russian tanks with 7-inch armor. You can just fire explosive rounds or regular lead rounds at those suckers. Send them in. Send in 100 Warthogs. They'll clean up that border in a matter of hours. And if the Mexican Air Force wants to get it on, send in the F-15s, the F-16s. Send in the B-2 bombers. Hit their air bases. Blow them to kingdom come. But see, our military won't be used for something real to defend our country like George Washington would do. You know what George Washington would do right now? No. Our military's got to go pick on people thousands of miles away because they want to steal their oil and get their opium. Same reason they want us to now go into Mexico to back up their criminal government. Now, what do you do to end all this overnight? You decriminalize heroin and cocaine like it was 80-plus years ago. Let me see. They started criminalizing it by 1932, 33. So how many years is that? Yeah, you're talking 80 years or close to it. You could buy pure cocaine, pure heroin at the drugstore, and there were far fewer people on it because it was looked down upon. People knew how dangerous it was. But if you wanted to go kill yourself, go ahead. That's a free society. What did they lose in 33? What had they just gotten rid of? Prohibition. They couldn't. The corrupt cops, the corrupt FBI, the corrupt government making hundreds of millions of dollars in every major city. And that was back in those numbers off the speakeasies. It wasn't the Christians that got liquor outlawed. They were the useful idiots. It was the big distillers and the corrupt governments that wanted that. And when they lost their prohibition, you know, where they could make 10, 20 times what they could previously when liquor was legal, they needed something new, so they made marijuana, cocaine, and heroin illegal so they could jack up the price again. Who set up Skull and Bones? Who set up the CIA? Admittedly, the main families that controlled opium in this country. This is like ABC News. This is not my opinion. This is absolute fact. The drug dealers make the drugs illegal. The drug dealers want the drugs illegal. You decriminalize now. You don't sell it over the counter. But if somebody's an addict, they can go get a slip of paper from the government and then go get it. And then something else happens. They stop breaking in your house for your stereo, computer, for grandma's painting. All these pawn shops fencing all the stolen goods will dry up. All this scum will just blow away. I've seen the criminology reports. Over 90% of home invasions and thefts and carjackings and muggings are drug-related. You don't see winos out knocking people over the head very often for money. No, they can just panhandle because the beer's cheap. The whiskey's cheap. Let me tell you, if whiskey was $200 a bottle instead of $7 a bottle for that rot gut they drink, you'd have homeless people breaking in houses like a bunch of zombies. You see the crackhead zombies breaking in houses because that stuff's expensive. This is a scourge of crime. So no, Perry, we don't send our troops down there to secure the drugs for your globalist buddies. Decriminalize, Perry, decriminalize. And if you really want to be tough, call for the warthogs to be brought in. 10 A-10s per state, 20 miles from the border, the crews waiting in their shacks, the bombs, the missiles, the Gatling guns loaded, send up some Puff the Magic Dragon C-130s with the howitzers. Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange Home Gain Gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today.
Is it really possible to get out of debt without payment plans or attorneys? 18 years ago, we developed a program that has made thousands debt-free in just 90 days. It's called Zero Debt in 90 Days, and it works for all credit card debt, medical bills, even collection lawsuits.
When I first joined, I was being sued. So I used the program methods, and after filing one piece of paper, the collection lawsuit was dismissed.
With Zero Debt in 90 days, your success is guaranteed in writing. There is no other program of its kind. Don't be alone when creditors gang up on you. Let our team of experts provide the resources to fight back and stop creditors in only 90 days, guaranteed. Prevent wage garnishments, bank levies, and stop collection calls with our proven program. Call Zero Debt in 90 days now, 800-477-9256, and ask for free information from an expert who also completed our program. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw of free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that